Hello, everyone. It's me, Kirsten, and this is the It's Giving Mystical podcast. And this is your podcast for the week ahead, the week of June 6th. Let's just check in about that sun week last week, just for un momento. So beautiful. Obviously, I'm sure you had moments last week where you felt really lit up and felt the sun and felt the joy and felt maybe the heat a little bit. I will say that I know from firsthand experience, not everyone had the easiest week. What you cannot argue with is that things became clear. So there's illumination that comes in, there's light that comes in. Nothing can hide in the shadows when we're in the sun energy. So even if something fell apart that you hoped would come together, trust that there's a blessing in that. I cannot guarantee you enough that there's a blessing in that. There's something about the sun that even when it stings a little bit, burns a little bit, bites a little bit, it's actually trying to communicate to us that there's more to be had here. There's more joy to be had. There's more light. There's more life. There's more happiness to be found here. And what are the things that are keeping you in the dark, that are keeping you in the shadows? It's quite possible in the sun week that you came up against the things you're not being honest about, the things you're editing or keeping secret or not saying what's true. And listen, great compassion for how hard it is to be honest all of the time. But also remember that any place you're editing, any place you're keeping secrets, any place that you think that you have to lie, it's because there's some part of you, like aho to the part of you that knows something's off. It knows something's off. And I'm just going to say to all my young people out there, my young women, young men, you should never have to keep a secret for a partner. You should never have to keep a secret for a lover. You should never have to keep a secret for a parent. This idea that we somehow are making it better by colluding in other people's secrets, there's a whole well of pain there. And so that might have come up last week. There might have been this thing of, oh, wait, that was not true, or that was a way I thought I had to tell the story to make the other person look good. You have to trust your compass, trust the part of you that's like, I don't feel comfortable about this, and therefore I want to edit it, or I want to say something different, or I want to pretend otherwise, or I want to keep it a secret. The sun isn't going to allow that. The sun is going to get into all the cracks. That's a good thing. Is it always easy? No, life is not always easy, but it's important, and it is 100% a blessing. I remember years ago, someone who I love dearly was down a road in their life. Like they thought they had kind of gone so far down that road that there was only, one way out. And I remember them coming and sitting down at my table and saying, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to say this out loud. And I know once I say it out loud, I can't unsay it. I know that once I say it to you, it can't be unseen. And I know that I'm going to have to make big choices in my life after I say this out loud. That too is telling the truth. Sometimes it takes us a while. Sometimes we need to set containership around how we share our truth. I have this thing I'm struggling with. I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but it's also something that needs to be said. Can you be patient with me? Can you wait with me? Or I have something I need to say and I need to trust you to stay steady. I'm in tumult about it. I'm in confusion. My heart is broken. Can you stay steady while I share this truth with you and not give me advice and not try to fix it and not tell me how I should have seen it coming? So understand that the truth is like a spring, like it will bubble up. It keeps bubbling up. Or like the light, it keeps finding its way through the cracks. So I hope this week brought you a lot of joy and a lot of ease, but probably it also brought some things to light, and that may or may not have been easy. And it probably brought up some things around where you're telling the truth or not telling the truth, where you're editing the story, where you're keeping secrets. And it's just all good information. It's all good information. Just take a step back. We do crazy things to try to show the people we love them. We do crazy things to try to keep things in stasis, to try to keep things in comfort. But like I keep saying, the truth, the light, it wants to bubble up. It wants to reveal itself, wants to be revealed just like love does. And so that probably came up last week. But I promise that even when that was difficult, it was carrying you towards light. It was carrying you towards love. And it is 100% a blessing. The sun card, again, might burn, might bite, but it's trying to say to you, you deserve more. You deserve more joy, more light, more love, more happiness. Okay, just to kind of say that, because I know personally some people this week had some interactions that didn't feel particularly happy. But I do also see the larger picture of how it's carrying them towards a more honest life and a more joyful life. Our secrets are our sickness. That's said in recovery programs, but it's a very real thing. And the most dangerous part is when we start deceiving ourselves. We start believing the lies we're telling or the secrets that we're keeping or the editing that we're doing. We believe it as our own narrative. And the sun doesn't really want that to happen. The sun doesn't really want to allow that. And so I hope that that light, even if it felt maybe a little harsh, a little bright sometimes, I hope that you're able to take that in and trust that it's trying to get you to a place where you are living a life that's more clear and, yeah, more lit up, dude, more lit up. The card that I pulled for us this week is the Tower. So I will say that whatever kind of got shaken loose this past week or got illuminated this past week, it's changing things. It's shifting the structures. It's shifting the structures. It's shifting the walls. It's messing with your stability maybe a little bit, but it is also bringing more power to the system, more energy to the system, more light to the system. So recognize that the Tower card, even though it is like a crazy thing, it is an abrupt change. It's like a very serious shift in direction, and it's a recalibration. It is the card of Kundalini rising. You guys have heard me say that before. And it's the card of more energy trying to get through the system than the system might have capacity for. So how that manifests in a life, in a movement, in like a tarot card reading, is they'll say sudden change. And they will say, as my mom did, be careful, like move slower in a tarot week, take your time. If you feel pressure to rush or I was like trying on clothes to go to dinner, and I was like so impatient that I like ripped this dress off the top of my head and I popped the button off of like the back thing. And I was like, what are you doing? So it could be something as stupid as that, of like, just relax, like just take a breath, like just unbutton the neck before you rip the dress off, right? Like just chill out. There's something about pacing and timing, which came up a ton in that long monthly reading. Like understanding what your pacing and timing is. What are you rushing for? Where are you trying to get to? Where are you trying to go to? What are you trying to achieve? What is the rush? That is a question to ask yourself this week. Because the Tower, again, like more energy is pushing through the system than the system has consciousness around, comfort around, capacity around. And so that's Kundalini rising, right? We have lots of stories about that. That's the energy pushing up through the system. It's, illumination or liberation in some people's worldview. But regardless of what you call it, it's a huge amount of energy. It's a huge shift in energy. And the Tower is that. And especially when we're putting it on top of the Sun card, it's like something came in and lit up the sky. And then the Tower is your bodies, your experience, your world's like intake of that new light, of that information, of that energy. So again, you want to move slow. Like the way that shows up is that things are a little ungrounded, a little unbalanced, a little high voltage. So you want to just kind of move a little more slowly. The upside is that beautiful things can happen in a Tower energy. You can fall in love, you can get your dream job, you can get that phone call out of the blue that comes up and says, oh my God, I never even knew that was going to happen. You can win the lottery. Like this is a change that happens like that. It's a change that goes from this is one way, this is another way. And they came in reverse. So I feel it less a shocking change that feels like disruptive and more like a shocking change that feels like like a big exhale, like oh wow, and that's like very simple, but that's the way the energy feels in my body. Like maybe it's almost like that sensation of when you've been really tired or you've been sick and then you feel better. Like it's just this, oh man, I forgot that I can hold so much more. I forgot that it can feel so much gooder. I forgot that I can hold this much energy. I forgot that I can feel this lit up by my life. There's a momentum and an energy to it that is undeniable. And it is again, to get really back to the more academic sense of what's happening in this card, it's the card of the foundation shifting. I always say this, but I'll just keep saying it because it's always helpful to hear it. The Tower reminds us of the benefits of growing something versus building something. So the tower is like your root system can take the shock. Your tree, you can lose a limb, you can lose a branch, and you can still be in progression. You can still be in evolution. You can still be in movement and growth. The stone wall or the stone house you build, when that gets knocked down, you have to rebuild it. The building has a kind of man-made aspect to it, a kind of egoic or like conscious or like manipulation to it. And the growth has this more cosmic, more mystical kind of agenda. This is what the seed, the potential of the thing wants to become, versus we have these materials and we're going to work with what we have. And so when the tower crumbles, when the tower card comes up, it's saying, listen, you built those things because you thought it mattered. Like you thought the exterior world had to approve who you were, what you were doing. And so you did all the things. The blocks are the things you put in place. I am a functioning member of society. I say all the right things. I have the right job. I have the right relationship. My house is clean. Like it's that kind of stuff. And the growth is, but what is my soul aching for? What does it mean to be alive? It's a kind of this, there's a bifurcation of those two energies, and we can get confused. We can get confused that the building of the wall, the building of the home, the building of the castle is the reason we're here. And it's no, the building of the castle is the containership around which our life force can more fully flow, with which we can expand what we're able to hold and metabolize, and then also in terms of production, like great creative output, great creative expression, just like life, dude. Like you feel alive, you feel lit up by the power of the tower card. Slow down this week, but also check in with your energy levels, check in with what you're holding, check in with how you feel, and watch with amazed eyes how whatever did get illuminated last week, whatever kind of light went on last week, whatever joy that happened, or kind of the shadowy things that got brought to the surface, that got brought out into the light, watch how they're shifting. Actually, this is something very specific that happened to me, but I was with my best friend from college in New York, and we were walking around, and we walked through an old neighborhood, and I had a memory of something that had happened to me in college that was like such a devastation, such a betrayal. I actually got like a stomach ache while I was walking, and I turned to her and I said, remember when that thing happened? And she was like, I have no memory of that. And I was like, but that was like devastating to me. And we talked about it. And then we came to the conclusion that I might not have told her. Like I might have been so ashamed, so hurt by what happened, that I talk about keeping secrets, that I kind of kept it a secret, or I didn't share it with her because I didn't want the other person involved to look bad. And so I took that in. And so last week during the Sun Week, I was moving and I had this like very somatic, very clear memory of that betrayal. And even just saying it out loud to her, it doesn't fix it, but it released something in me. For her, someone who I love and trust and has known me for a long time, to say, that is terrible. Like, and I wish you had shared it with me then. And then the compassion I have for that 20-year-old version of me that just ate that, like just took it in because I didn't want to embarrass the other person, because I was ashamed. And that too came to light last week. So it was kind of this side note thing that happened while we were moving around the city, but I was thinking about it a lot afterwards. And I was like, it's interesting how that my body kind of rang that bell and said, remember this thing that you've kept in the dark unconsciously. Like I haven't thought about that thing in a while, but it was a pretty fundamental moment in my life. Like it was a pretty big top 5 devastations and betrayals in my life. And I had kept it in the shadows really unconsciously. Like after I kind of packed it away. And then for me to turn to Courtney and be like, this thing happened, and her to be like, tell me more. And to take it out into the light was its own healing, its own, at least possibility of healing, at least possibility of putting it on the pavement and like letting it dry up and not carrying it in my body anymore. So carrying through this example, what does that now open in me this week? What space has been unoccupied or released in me that now I can hold more in this movement ahead, in this week ahead, and wherever my life takes me in the next week? So that's like a kind of a small example, but for me it was an important one. And maybe something similar happened. Like something came to light that you didn't even realize you were carrying, or something came into light that was in the shadows that you had forgotten about. And now who will you be? And that's the beautiful part of the tower, right? The tower is, there's more to you. There's more available to you. And this beautiful recognition of we are like wildfire in a body. Like we are this wild light that's animating this body, and the tower is our body. The tower is like the material world. So how is the material world ready to shift to align with the wildfire, the wild light that's in you, and what that's calling for? What's your heart calling for? What is love calling for? What is like the deepest part of you calling for? How does the material world begin to like take shape around that or to reflect that? That's beautiful. Is it always comfortable? Are you kind of like, oh, is it the walls falling? Yes, but the wall's falling, and why? And for what? And to let in what? So the tower card, is tricky. It's abrupt energy and people get nervous. But when I pulled it, it came in reverse. And when I put my hands on it, the message I had was just like, there's more energy in the system. There's more movement in the system. The system is adjusting. So let your system adjust this week. I wonder what that means for you. I always want to hear it. Hit me up. You text me, email me, message me. Well, don't email me. I'm terrible on email. But message me and tell me what this is like for you. Tell me what your experience of this has been. And how do you feel now that something's come to light? Might it hurt? Yeah, but might you also be relieved? We don't need to carry the darkness for ourselves or for other people. There's nothing like new under the sun, and there's nothing unsacred under the sun. And life happens, and we make messes. And the more we can do to release shame around that, to release the secrecy around that, the better served we are, the more human we are, and the more nicer it is to be around us. A lot of us are carrying around backpacks of old weight, and it's kind of a waste of time. Not that we're doing it on purpose, but like, be good to yourself. Be easy with yourself this week, and let me know how the tower comes into your environment, and just slow down. That's my really only advice during the tower. This is happening. So slow down and try to breathe through it, and try to ground into the earth, and try to trust that whatever's coming to light, it's coming to light to create more space, more change in a good way. Like, oh, more of the external world beginning to reflect what you feel so deeply in your internal environment. Okay, is that good? I have 2 conversations I had, one with Maddie, one with Nina, 2 of my favorite people in the whole world, 2 brilliant women who are both releasing books this month. Beautiful, beautiful work that they do in their lives and then put into the written form in a way that is digestible for so many more people. And that is just awesome. It's amazing to watch them create their art and live their lives and share their medicine with the world. I had conversations with each of them about shaman school and what the shamanic path has offered them in their life and in their work. And I'll be releasing those in the next few weeks. And then, yeah, let me know what you think of the long form June podcast. Hopefully that was helpful. And otherwise, just sending you lots of love. Take good care of yourself, slow down, enjoy the heat, enjoy the light, and yeah, just take best care, baby. Bye.